Alright. Chapter 3. Okay. Hey there. How are you guys doing in the heat? Okay. Who is this? On the baseball thingy. Oh, Mion-san, we're doing good. Is that our refreshments? Thanks a bunch. You're such a great manager. I just felt like coming here. I didn't bring this for you, by the way. And don't treat me as your manager without my permission, please. We'd be a stronger team if you were our manager, Mion. Why don't you apply? As a manager, I mean. Satoshi-kun smiled at me in a carefree manner. I didn't want to become their manager, it would be tiresome. I'll be coming every week though, so I'm a quasi-manager already. Well, if I feel like it. Anyway, how's Satoshi-kun doing, coach? Is his batting average improving? Yes, he's doing fine. His batting average as well. If you buy 3 packs of rice crackers at 7 Market... Does that mean it's 30%? Wow. You're doing really great, Satoshi-kun. It's not just about the number, Mion. I'd be able to hit the ball when it really counts. It's good that you're aware of your weakness, Satoshi-kun. You just can keep, you just continue working on them for now. Is 80% good? I was sticking to the pitcher, who then threw the ball. That's 70% miss rate, isn't it? Satoshi-kun looked calm, following the ball with his eyes and swung. Whack. The ball flew between first and second base and landed in the distance. Wow, that's great. Good job, Satoshi-kun. I clapped and Satoshi-kun blushed in response. He, repositioned his helmet to hide his face. Well, he's good in practice and when the game is slow. Ivy smiled compassionately. It seemed that Satoshi-kun really couldn't perform well when it counted. Well, while he was usually good when everyone expected him to perform, he couldn't. I don't think it was because of his nervousness, he just couldn't do it. I think it's a perfect fit for Satoshi-kun's character. He seems calm at first glance, but is actually slow. Numerically speaking, you're a great player, but you need to be able to hit the ball even when things get serious. That's why you were easy out in the match with the Yukitawa Jaguars the other day. Shut up, I know that. If he's been able to hit the ball then, he would have been a hero. What a shame. What a shame, what a shame. A hit could have been put the offensive into the lead or at least given them an extension. That was when Satoshi-kun came up to bat. I wanted him to live up to everyone's expectations, but statistically, that wasn't likely to happen. Yet I insisted on giving him a chance in spite of the fact that all the team members had suggested a pitch hitter. It would have been perfect if you could hit it. Why didn't you? Why can't you hit the ball in a situation when it really matters? There's nothing I could do. I know I'm weak in a situation like that. I thought a pitch hitter was a better idea too. It's not about the match, it's about you, Satoshi. Ugh. You need to be more aggressive. Shouldn't you have thought the opposite way? Shouldn't you have insisted that you would come up to bat no matter what everyone else said? I can't believe you would give away the chance to some pitcher. Why are you so weak like that? That's what I'm always telling him. I know that's one of his good points too, but you can be a gentleman at other times. When playing games you should be a demon. I think all men should have those two sides to them. You need to let your demon out, Satoshi-kun. You're naive. You're native to Himizawa, so never forget that you have demon's blood running through your veins. Are you listening? Satoshi-kun? Yeah, I am. I'm not sure, but why aren't you sure about what are you talking about? So, whoa, Satoshi-kun suddenly started stroking my head. He looked delighted for some reason. Blushing really spread across my face. I didn't know how to respond. You're giving me advice, right? Thanks, I'll do my best. Hey, don't you try to fool me. I'm not. I'm just happy that you care about me. I couldn't resist his hand. I couldn't help mumbling like he does. Satoshi-kun, back to the field, leaving me red as a beet. Do you feel good when you have your head stroked? Depends. If it were you, I'd probably teach you new martial arts technique. Haha, what a shame. Alright, everyone gather around. Why don't you split into groups and have a practice match? The Himizawa fighters are sort of a lazy team. The members gather simply to enjoy playing baseball, not to fight for victory. The Akinomiya Titans use the field too, but they pick practice on a different day of the week. They always train hard using dumbbells and stuff. Our team split into two groups and started a match of retaining their loose atmosphere. I'll keep track of the school. Coach, do you have a pencil? Thanks for helping out. Yeah, I took the pencil and the clipboard. I didn't know how to differentiate between recording hits and errors at first, but now I was used to it. Show me what you got, Toshi-kun. Oh, maybe it's be too much pressure for you to excessively. Just do okay then. That doesn't sound very encouraging either. Do your best. Time passed slowly that Sunday. Huge white clouds appeared in the sky that made me feel healthy. Humans are born to be active under the sun. Are they? One of the parents was acting as up for today, so Ivy sat on the bench with me. He shouted words of encouragement to the kids while they ran into their positions. Any other baseball coach would constantly berate them, but he was much more generous than a kindergarten teacher. I wonder when the Higurashi is. He let the kids have fun while watching over them. To the other baseball players, it might look a little naive. I'm surprised you guys can do well with only a small amount of practice. Kids in Himizawa romp around every day, but the amount of exercise they get surpasses that of the city kids. Besides, too much training is not always effective. Whoa, you think completely differently from the Akinomiya Titans. I can understand why their coach hates you. It's not about being right. Matches exist for someone to win after all, so prioritizing victory certainly isn't wrong. I think it's admirable to aim for victory together, but the goal of our team doesn't happen to be victory, that's all. The Himizawa fighters and the Akinomiya Titans have been rivals for a long time. Both teams shared the same baseball field for one thing, and originally there was only one team, but people living in Himizawa left and made their own. Anyhow, we were rivals. The Akinomiya Titans were strictly about winning, and the Himizawa fighters were just about having fun. Surprisingly, our scores weren't that different, which meant our team had something they didn't. Even though I couldn't put it into words, I knew that made that happen. Hey, Team 1, no stacking. You can make up the 2-point difference pretty easily. Team 2, no stacking either. So some parents would criticize our coach for being too lenient, but still others would strongly agree with him. Which side would I take? The latter? I couldn't really say for sure. The reason for this was that Dr. Ivy had an obnoxious habit of sexual harassment. In particular, he had fantasized with fantasization with maids, but I should talk about that some other time. Fascination. Satoshi-kun let the ball pass twice to see its trajectory, then hit it on the third pitch and ran to the first base. Oh, he did it. He's so good when he's relaxed. In the beginning, he used to get tired very easily. He's improved quite a lot since then. He really does look like a bookworm. I wonder why he started playing baseball in the first place. All the other kids who joined the baseball team loved baseball. They'd go out to play in the fields outside of practice. That's why they all had an aptitude for it. But a system says that Satoshi exercises intensively in school or anywhere else. I don't know. Maybe he plays baseball so he's not at home. A bit like how Satoko does what's it called? Club activity. But Satoshi's also in the club, isn't he? He only likes to read. That's why I don't understand why he started playing for this team to begin with. That's because I invited him. Is that so? You recruited him? Did you notice some kind of hidden talent? Excuse me, can I have a cup of barley tea? Ah, thank you. I asked for tea in a suspicious manner. While he was constantly joked around, I knew he was actually a very mature person. I assumed he was trying to evade my question. Is there a particular reason? I pretended he didn't hear me, but I pressed on. In response, he shrugged and began answering the question. I think you might be able to guess. What would be Shinazaki's guess? I quickly searched for the data I had on Satoshi-kun. I came up with Satoshi-kun's family circumstances. He lost his parents in an accident a year ago. Since then, he's been having a tough time at his uncle's home. So he invited him so that he could vent. Sports are great. You can free yourself through exercise. I thought that as long as he concentrated on something else, he could forget about his troubles at home. He's usually a sort of daydreamer zoning out all the time. Is he still stressed? I knew Satoshi-kun might be suffering even though he didn't look like it. But to me and Shinozaki never paid attention to such things, and I had to act like she does. Satoshi-kun got really sick, and his uncle took him into his custody. He had many clinical symptoms, but the causes were unknown. Satoshi-kun often got sick. After he was taken into his uncle's custody, didn't I just read this? He suffered from fatigue and migraines. He suffered from a lack of energy and sleeplessness. The coach, Dr. Ivy soon realized Satoshi-kun was suffering from a psychological disorder. Most of the people in Himizawa knew how bad Satoshi-kun's environment was. It was natural for him to become sick because he entered that bad environment right after his parents' death. Hojo-san cannot express himself freely. Whether it's crying or simply being agitated, he's not good at handling those emotions. That's true, I can't imagine him being angry or crying. Did you know Hojo-san's mother had been married a few times already? Yeah, I know a little about that. Satoshi-kun's mother had married a number of men over the years. That meant Satoshi-kun had several stepfathers. He had to deal with strangers coming into his home multiple times, so he's supposed to be mature. Satoshi-kun is mentally undeveloped. He isn't aware of it himself though. He didn't have enough time to cry, laugh, throw tantrums in his childhood. He was supposed to become a grown-up in just a short time. That doesn't sound right. Children have to behave like children in order to grow. There's nothing positive about being forced to become an adult. Not only was Satoko's current relationship with her aunt suspiciously terrible, I heard that her relationship with her previous stepfathers wasn't good either. Satoko was always caused problems and Satoshi would always step in to protect her. I thought his physical symptoms came from the stress his body was trying to warn him. That's why Ivy invited Satoshi-kun onto the baseball team. He told Satoshi that he needed a team manager, he needed a new member, or something like that. He resisted at first, but after talking to him at the clinic a few times, he began to open up to me. Thus, I invited him to come see the practice. Then I suggested he try batting. I eased him into it. Sports always worked excellently for Satoshi-kun. His health quickly improved and he started to become interested in baseball. He practiced batting. He was soon able to swing beautifully and he learned how to see the trajectory of the ball. I can imagine that. He likes to read, so he must have read a book titled How to Play Baseball or something like that. He's become a good batter very quickly. He's put forth a lot of effort. Though I wish he would actually hit when it comes down to the wire. Are you guys close? I think so. He talks to me about his problems, so I guess that's a sign of trust. I felt a bit jealous about how confident Dr. Ivy said that. While Satoshi-kun and I were friends, we weren't so close that we would open up to each other like that. Oh, are you jealous? Eh? About what? Taken aback, I blushed. Ivy started laughing at me. Please stay as his good friend. Well, yeah, I'm trying. I didn't know what to say. You know regarding Hojo-san, he seems a little sick again lately. What? Thwack. The ball flew to the left, but the left fielder managed to catch it. It seemed that the relationship between Satoko and her aunt had gone worse lately. It was obvious that his sickness had something to do with that. Their aunt is bullying Satoko-chan in a terrible way. She's become worn out after all that. And so, Satoshi-kun is also worn out from coming for Satoko, isn't he? I wasn't interested in Satoko, so I switched the subject back to Satoshi-kun. I didn't know much about Satoko. I knew that she was a big part of Satoshi-kun's life, but I'd never been interested in her until today. She must have been building up self-esteem and taking care of her unreliable brother. That was all I knew about her. But considering Satoshi-kun's personality, even that goofiness of his might have been an act. Maybe he was trying to make her feel good about herself by letting her take care of him. If only unconsciously. When he's alone, he's surprisingly strong. I realized that only recently. So I couldn't help but think that his whole life is constantly affected by Satoko. Satoshi-kun managed to get along with his stepfathers even though he experienced some stress. He was even getting along with his aunt. But in order to protect Satoko, he always had to step in and suffer. I didn't really know anything about Satoko, but I had to admit I felt hostile towards her. I felt jealous because she was monopolizing him. It seems that their aunt has been tyrannizing Satoko-chan even more lately. That must be what's causing Satoshi-kun's sickness. Ivy heaved a sigh. It is said that Satoshi-kun had been absent a few times lately. He seemed a bit tired too. He looked normal like when around everyone else, but he looked a little depressed when he was alone. So you invited him to join the team to relieve his stress, didn't you? Yes, that's right. But he looks stressed again now. How can we save him this time? I don't know. Ivy smiled perilously. I couldn't help feeling a little bit disappointed about that, because Satoshi-kun put his trust in him. Just between you and me, Satoshi-kun recently told me that he wanted to leave the team. Eh? How come? He claimed he was tired of it. That's what he said. But I believe he actually wanted to spend more time with Satoko-chan. He thinks Satoko-chan might end up being tortured while he's at practice. I think he's concerned about that. I was left speechless for a while. Satoko again. Satoko. Why did Satoshi-kun have to sacrifice so much for her? Just by ignoring her, his stress would melt away. Of course I knew he couldn't do that. If that was the case, then the blame would lay with his little sister. I knew how badly she'd been treated, but that only happened because she made things worse for herself. It was her fault that she couldn't establish a decent reputation with her aunt. If Satoko were more mature like Satoshi-kun, her home life wouldn't have gotten so bad. Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to suffer those indirect blows. In the meantime, the baseball team's practice match had become one-sided. It wasn't even worth watching anymore. Members of the losing team were goofing off. The sky had turned cloudy too. It was depressing. It didn't look like it would rain soon, though. The grey sky hadn't brought along any cool air. It just felt disgusting. Ivy became quiet. He was looking down around his feet. I, meanwhile, just stared at Satoshi-kun. To me, he didn't look active anymore. He was once able to enjoy playing baseball, and he felt fine. But he got sick again just because the relationship between Satoko and her aunt had deteriorated. I couldn't help but to say it. Shouldn't we do something about Satoko instead? It was just a murmur, but Ivy had definitely caught it. What? Do you mean Shinozaki-san? It's not that complicated. If Satoko was stronger, Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to deal with his stress. I think Satoko's the cause of everything. I don't know about that. Yes you do. If she didn't cause any trouble, he wouldn't have to step in, would he? He wouldn't have to uh, take over in the fight between Satoko and her aunt, right? Satoshi-kun never got scared of any trouble. No matter how formidable the enemy, he would bravely stand up to protect the weak. I knew that because I could vividly imagine it. Whenever their aunt tried Satoko, Satoshi-kun steps in, protects her. The aunt probably didn't like it. Though Satoshi-kun didn't have to fight, the aunt would attack him anyway. The fight would then be between the aunt and him. Satoko might then tease the aunt by sticking out her tongue, hide behind his back, and pretending to be scared. She would never think about how deeply he was being hurt. I don't think that's true now, but okay. Because of Satoko, Satoshi-kun had become wounded and stressed. I'm surprised to hear this from you, Shinozaki-san. I thought you were Satoko's friend, her classmate, a big sister kind of figure. I thought you'd always be on her side, but what you said is surprising to me. Ivy looked at me suspiciously. I could tell he was thinking about me. I'd said too much. Cover's blown. Me and Shinozaki and Satoko Hojo are friends. They're close, so Mian should have been encouraging her after the situation at home got tougher. That's what Mian was supposed to do. Twins aren't exactly alike anyway, but whatever. I had totally forgotten about that and spoken as myself. It's only natural that Ivy would give me a suspicious look. He might even end up changing his impression of me and Shinozaki entirely. I'd have to apologize to her about this and ask her to put things right. I totally messed up. Even so, I didn't think anything I said was wrong. I'd objectively looked at the situation and made a modest proposal. To be honest, I was simply afraid he might leave the team. I couldn't go back to the school in Himizawa, so the baseball field was the only place where I could see him. I could even say that he was my only reason for living. That's right, I was in love with him, but I wasn't going to tell him how I felt. But I was satisfied just by being by his side. I certainly couldn't ask for anything more. After all, I couldn't reveal my true identity. I had to pretend to be Mion in order to live in Akinomiya. I thought that maybe I should leave Akinomiya in order to be free, but that's stupid. No matter how tough my life might be, I'd prefer to be here, with Satoshi-kun stroking my head every now and then. Why did I love him that much? I read about it in some manga once. You don't need a reason to be in love. I surprised myself for being like this. Calm down, Shion. I breathed out and slowly, then held my breath, trying to still my throbbing heart. I felt a bit calmer. At that point, a clear thought came into my head. I want to be with Satoshi-kun, so I want him to stay on the team, so I want to get rid of his concerns and his stress, so what? So, so what can I do to achieve all that? My head started to cool down as I heard the, um, upper shout, game set and match. Higurashi, when they cry? Old 7 Expansion presents Welcome to Himizawa when they cry. Ah, Some days I see him, some days I don't. A clear sky gets cloudy and the rain will always stop eventually. I thought his absence was just like that, but he was actually on the verge of a breakdown. Notebook, page 19. The rainy season was just around the corner, and the air had become so humid that my shirt stuck to my skin. It had been a few weeks since Satoshi couldn't stop showing up for baseball practice. I looked for him as soon as I arrived at the field. He's not here yet. Did I get here too early? I want to see him playing in the field right when I get here. I had started arriving late because of those feelings. However, he wasn't here today either. I didn't even bother hiding my disappointment anymore. Everyone knew by now how I felt. The team members from Mion's class came over to try and console me, but I shooed them away. What's going on, Shinozaki-san? Are you feeling sick? Even Ari couldn't comfort me. I was aware that he too knew why I was like this. I'm going home. I don't feel like watching the practice today. Look, we're having a meeting with the Akinomiya Titans later. I wanted you to be there because you're our manager. Don't treat me like a manager. I never agreed to be one. Ivy looked down, not knowing what to say. Alright, please help us again when you feel like it. Maybe I won't be coming back. If you need a manager, look for someone else. Please do come back whenever you feel like it. Satoshi-kun would be sad if you're not here when he comes back. I ignored him and turned around. I'd already set up my schedule with Mion, so I didn't have to ask her every time anymore. I tried to contact her a few times to ask how Satoshi-kun was doing at school, but I haven't been able to get through to her. Apparently the hag had sensed that I might be in contact with Sis. In other words, Sis was being watched. As a result, it hadn't been easy to contact her. Keisei, who had been helping me contact her, seems to have been marked. People knew he was loyal to me. I hadn't seen him for a while either. All I could do was wonder how Satoshi-kun was doing. I was frustrated because there's no way for me to know. My head was filled with worries, but something surprised me out of the blue. Somebody called out to me when I was about to leave the field on my bike. Mi-chan, hello. Oh, Rena. You said you said you didn't know Shion, though. I guess you didn't figure me out. Hmm, little Miss Detective didn't figure me out. I've never seen this girl before. Luckily, she called me Mi-chan. There's only one person who refers to me on that way, as far as I know. Rena? I'm surprised to see you here. Her name is Rena Hagura. If your name is, Rena, but she wanted to be called, Rena. Rihanna? I don't know. So that's what we call her. She moved here in April. I had some information on her, but it was all ambiguous. This was still a bit uncertain about her, since she's new. It was hard for me to handle someone like that. I didn't know how to act around her, to be honest. I decided to pretend to be in an obvious sulky mood. That way she wouldn't talk to me as much, assuming that Mion was feeling bad. But that's how I really am anyway. Are you going home, Mi-chan? Yeah, I'm not feeling well. Sorry. Let's go together then. I wanted to say that I'd rather be alone, but there's only one road in Himizawa, so asking to be alone would look hard. The only way to not seem suspicious would be to walk home with her. Yeah, let's go. Rena quietly nodded, and I unlocked my bike. Nichan, do you have an umbrella? Nope. It might rain soon, so let's hurry since you don't have one. As you predicted, we were attacked by pouring rain on our way. We ended up taking shelter in a small shack in front of a bus stop. It's pouring, but it doesn't look like it's gonna last, since the sky over there is clear. Yeah. I heard the sound of rain pattering on the rooftop, and the raindrops jumping into puddles. It sounded loud, but it made me feel strangely calm. I zoned out for a moment, then Rena talked to me while looking up at the rainy sky. I was worried about you, because you look so down. Well, the baseball team members knew I was depressed because I hadn't seen Satoshi-kun recently. Most of them attended the school in Himizawa. It wasn't surprised that she knew as well. I hadn't been able to contact Six these past few weeks, but I saw she had an idea of how I felt about Satoshi-kun, and how I would feel if he didn't come to his baseball practice. This was probably pretending to act a little depressed during her day-to-day in Himizawa to avoid creating a gap between our moods. But neither of us knew the details about the other right now, so she wouldn't be able to answer if others asked her what was wrong. She would only be able to say, "Leave me alone." That might lead to that might lead more people to become worried. Rena might have thought Mion was depressed. That must be why she came all the way to see me. She must know what was going on because she knew that I was at the baseball field. Do you feel lonely because Satoshi-kun is avoiding us? Having deduced that what was going on with Satoshi-kun from what she just said, he'd been distancing himself from the others lately because of exhaustion. That's what it sounded like, at least. He looked like he was very worried about Satoko-chan. I think he's really on edge. I feel bad for him. He really cares about his sister. He has a lot of courage. What said sounded hollow, as I knew too well how much of a burden Satoko had become. But I think he's feeling worse if you also look depressed, I think. I don't want that. I know, but if you really don't, then you need to smile for him, otherwise you might really feel cornered. I know you're strong. You can smile even if it's just pretend. So I want you to smile no matter what. You know that lies can become true sometime. What she was saying in a nutshell was this. Both Satoshi-kun and Satoko were totally wiped out. Everyone was also depressed, even though she was the sort of person who usually lights a mood. Their situation would be stuck in a vicious cycle. Nina sounded more like she was trying to give me advice than trying to console me. She must be more mature than she looked. She just told me that she was a funny girl with a few bad habits, but she seemed to have another, very mature side to her. Do you love Satoshi-kun? Yeah. I thought I shouldn't have told her that. I merely responded. In that case, why don't you smile? Rena smiled herself. I believe Satoshi-kun will feel better if he sees you smile. I know you feel powerless now, but your smile will give him strength. I know what you're saying, but it's not that easy. Rena giggled and nodded. He'll come back after he's done with his part-time job. His part-time job? I almost asked that question, but I managed to stop myself. From the tone of Rena's voice, it sounded like it was something everyone already knew. His part-time job, huh? I wonder when it will end. Until he has enough money, I guess. But he'll finish by Satoko-kun's Chan's birthday at the latest. I tried to figure out what was going on from what she said. I had to listen very carefully to uncover the whole picture. Satoshi-kun seemed to be working in order to make some money. I don't think it's easy to find a job when you're still in school. This might have done something to do with it. His job only seemed temporary, and it seemed to have something to do with Satoko's birthday. It wasn't that difficult to figure out. Satoko was working and saving up to buy his sister something expensive for her birthday. He was trying to comfort her, even though he was so torn up himself. Satoko again. Satoshi was already worn out because of her, and he was now working for her sake even though he was exhausted. How stupid. It would be easier for him to just forget about Satoko. Tisk! I was startled when I realized Rena was looking straight into my eyes. She was smiling, but her eyes looked creepy. I never voiced what I was thinking, but she was looking at me as though she figured out that I was blaming Satoko. She beamed when she noticed my fear. She smiled as though she understood that I thought that way because of love. She was giving me the creeps. I could hear thunder rolling in the distance. The rain began to pick up. Do you feel jealous of Satoko-chan because she monopolizes Satoshi-kun? I avoided answering immediately this time, but Rena seemed to know what I was thinking already. I wouldn't be upset even if you did. That's just how it is when you're in love. Thanks. You've been encouraging Satoko-chan despite that. That's admirable. Of course I have. She's my friend. I sounded so fake. I felt like spitting on the floor. What we can do is encourage Satoko-chan and Satoshi-kun. I don't know how to save them from their situation. Satoko is really relying on Satoshi-kun way too much. If she was stronger, he wouldn't have to suffer in our place. Ha ha ha. You sound really straightforward. Rena nodded with an unflinched smile, even though my remarks could be taken as harsh. What was this mysterious girl thinking? It was difficult to get a read on her. Maybe Satoshi-kun feels that way a little too. Eh? Rena kept smiling, but that smile looked strangely cold. I think he's tired of protecting Satoko-chan and he's aware of that. You're the type of person Rena is. I don't think she'd be saying something if she wasn't certain of it. Because of that, she must have been confident in what she told me. Why do you think that? He said so. What? Satoshi-kun seeking confess to Rena? Rena asked me to keep it that way. Satoshi-kun told me that he felt tired of protecting Satoko-chan. He's feeling guilty though. I don't think he would say something like that. But however, it wasn't likely that Rena was lying. I'd just met her, so I didn't know what made me feel that way, but my hunch told me that she was telling the truth. I heaved a huge sigh. Satoshi-kun must have gotten so tired that he couldn't help but telling someone. Even so, even though he thought that way, he wouldn't tell someone so easily. Maybe Rena had led him to do so. She might be capable of something like that. I don't understand. This girl. It'd only been a little while since we met, but I've already started talking about something I was keeping deep inside of me. Does she have some kind of supernatural power to reach into people's minds and drag out what they're thinking? It suddenly hit me that I was staying with this creepy girl in a tiny shack. I've been dragged into her strange world. I don't think Sis has realized Rena's true personality. She thinks Rena's just a funny girl with some strange habits. She would have told me if she knew. I guess Toshi-kun must trust you a lot if he confessed that to you. Haha, I'm a little jealous. It's not because you trust me, I think it's because I've experienced the same thing. You what? Did you also have someone care for your siblings once? Those footsteps always followed me. They even came to my bedside and looked down at me. Huh? Sorry, Rena. Oh, what are you talking about? I turned around to face her. I got the chills. Footsteps? He's hearing the footsteps? Though she smiled, her eyes looked ice cold. I trembled and froze my eyes open. Have you experienced anything like that? I guess not, probably. Rena kept laughing deviously. I tried to figure out what she was saying. Have you ever thought about leaving Himizawa and moving to a big city? Have you ever thought of doing something like that? I didn't know how to respond. Rena waited for my answer, urging me to speak with her silence. No, I love it here. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? I knew that. It didn't seem like a good idea to lie to her. Rena had some kind of power I couldn't grasp. You can read people's minds just by seeing the slightest change in their expressions, so I had to tell her the truth. You'll be okay if that's true. Orishida-sama won't get mad at you. Orishida-sama? Orishida-sama, that's Himizawa's guardian deity. I couldn't understand what she meant. Why she mentioned that name. My mind stopped for a moment. That's right, Orishida-sama. She calmly repeated the name as if trying to teach me something. Yeah, I remember. Orishida-sama never allows heathens to desecrate Himizawa. Orishida-sama never allows the villagers to leave either. Those are the rules. Slowly, I recalled the fear of the curse which supposedly caused the dismemberment murders and the death of the Hojo couple. When I was sent to the institution, I had this fear. I was scared that if I went to that faraway boarding school, I'd fall under the curse, but I should be okay. I escaped from the school and returned to my hometown, to Akinomiya to be precise. I should be okay according to the kid's rule because I love Himizawa. The heck forced me to live in a suffocating life, but I chose to live in this place. I don't believe I'm breaking Orishiro-sama's rules. Even though the Shinozaki family has selfishly banished me to a remote place, I came back here anyway. Orishiro-sama should, bless me for that. I guess I'm trying to convince myself that the curse doesn't apply to me, but I think I'm still afraid of it. I love this place, so I don't think I qualify for Orishiro-sama's curse. You could even call me a model villager. Yes, I think so too, but I'm not sure about Satoshi-kun. Why? Satoshi-kun wants to leave Himazama and run far away, even if only unconsciously. Eh? I gave an audible cry. While I was feeling sad that Satoshi-kun hadn't showed up for practice, he still lived in Himazawa, so I thought I never even considered the thought of him going away. Are you saying that he wants to skip town? Yes. He's not aware of himself though. He probably didn't notice until Orishiro-sama stood by his bed. I still had no idea what she was talking about. I continued to try to figure out what she was saying. Everything he's going through is a sign of Orishiro-sama's curse. You feel like someone's watching you from a distance and it follows you. Then it watches from right behind you. After that you start hearing an extra set of footsteps. It only happens outside at first, but you start hearing it even inside your house after a while. Then Orishiro-sama keeps watching you even when you're sleeping in the dark. Right by your side, watching silently, for you to admit your sin. Satoshi-kun told me he was having nightmares at first, so I asked him what kind of dreams he was having, and those dreams he was having, as it turned out, were just like mine. I warned him that the presence would become bigger, you'd hear an extra set of footsteps and feel like the presence watching him in his sleep. I told him to come to me if that ever happened. He must have been suspicious at first, but just as I predicted, he started to feel Orishiro-sama's presence more strongly. He finally realized he could talk to me about it. Rena didn't seem like she was joking. She just calmly told me what was going on. I couldn't even move. I couldn't tell if her words were a joke or the truth. I could only feel stunned. I'm from Himazawa originally, but I moved to Iwabaki, a province right before I went to elementary school. However, when I couldn't adjust to my new environment, Orishiro-sama frequently started telling me to return to Himazawa in my head. But I couldn't do anything since I was just a little kid. I was supposed to live there, though I felt burned by Orishiro-sama's voice. Then Rena paused. It looked like she didn't want to go into the details of what followed, and you broke all the windows. In general, she confused me even more. Anyway, I was able to come back here in the end. Orishiro-sama forgave me. I haven't felt his presence anymore since then. Satoshi-kun is being subjected to the curse even though he's in Himazawa. Why? There can only be one reason. It's because he wishes to abandon Himazawa. Orishiro-sama won't allow that. After a series of internal monologues, he confessed. You know he's working part-time, don't you? The teddy bear he's getting from Satoko costs about 100,000 yen. 100,000? That's like... Okay. And he's trying to get money for her birthday. So you divide it by 100, right? So that's like 1k. Have you noticed it yet? Think about it like this. If he had that amount of money, that'd be enough for him to run away somewhere far away from here. He unconsciously started to think about that, about leaving Satoko-chan behind. But he would feel very guilty. As you pointed out, Satoko-chan is a burden on him. He's not stupid, but so he's aware of that. He just doesn't want to admit it, because he's the only one who's supposed to protect his little sister. He's been struggling with himself. He thinks he's working to please Satoko-chan on her birthday, but he also feels that he might be deceiving himself because he unconsciously wants to skip town with that money. I don't think he should run away. Even if he did, he'd regret it for the rest of his life. Orishiro-sama knows that. That's why Orishiro-sama is trying to warn him. I hope Satoshi-kun stops thinking of abandoning Satoko-chan. He's working hard to make it to Satoko-chan's birthday, which is a couple of days after the Higurashi festival. He's pushing himself too hard. He believes it will end when Satoko-chan's birthday comes. The curse keeps cautioning him, while he tries to figure out whether he should leave or continue protecting her. The torrential rain didn't seem to want to stop. They kept pouring down on the galvanized iron roof, producing a loud noise. Yet, in the shack, it felt completely silent. What the hell was Rena talking about? I couldn't grasp even half of what she was saying. The only thing I had figured out is that Satoshi-kun was struggling, confused, and in a lot of pain. He's suffering from Orishiro-sama's curse, and Rena had experienced that before. The Higurashi festival was. right around the corner. Orishida-sama's curse had struck 3 years in a row. There was no guarantee that it wouldn't strike a fourth time. Satoshi-kun was subject to Orishida-sama's curse even now. Was he going to skip town? Was he going to be the next victim of Orishida-sama's curse? Either way, he might disappear forever. Could I do something to prevent that? If I didn't do anything, it would all come to a hopeless end. End? I started feeling a sense of dread. I didn't buy the crazy story Rena told me, but if something really something really was happening to Satoshi-kun, which might bring about some kind of end. I couldn't help but feeling scared. It's true, isn't it? My instincts is always correct. I decided to contact Mion despite the danger. Mion got upset at first, but she listened to me. Sis, what's going on with Satoshi-kun? He looked really stressed out. I can't even talk to him. What do you mean? You don't know what's going on because you can't talk to him? Sorry, sis. Give me another chance to trade spots with you again. That's fine, but I'm kind of busy lately, attending meetings for the festival. What are you planning to do? Another part-time job? I'm going to your school. Eh? Oh, is that for next time? I see. I'm going to, the Himizawa school. I forgot what it's called. Does it have a name? It's the one in the forestry service, but I don't know. Ages 21 and 24. Like, can we just skip 3 pages? Well, I guess 2, but, hmm. Why don't oh. Oh, where is that? Shh, whatever. Her name is Rena Hagura. Her first name is Rena. Oh, why don't I relate my encounter with that creepy girl in the creepy girl in the train? Her first name is Rena. I had no idea what kind of girl she really is. One thing is certain, she has no relation to the Shinazaki family. She had no relation to the three families as a whole either. The Hagura family used to live in Himizawa. Yeah, that's really strange, isn't it? Like, Rena's the only main character that isn't related to one of the 3 families. But I guess also Kichi, but Kichi's, just the guy who moves in. But then they moved to Ibariki, Ibariki. So we're supposed to look through the world through Kichi's eyes and learn everything. That was before she went to um elementary elementary school. See, they returned to Himizawa some years later. Rina Higura said she came back because Orishida-sama told her to. I don't know what that means. She said it was the curse of Orishida-sama. That Orishida-sama had stalked her. I think that was probably a hallucination, but Satoshi-kun had been interested in that experience. She said that Satoshi-kun was also experiencing Orishida-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun told her that he was being followed by some unknown existence. He was surprised to know that Rina had the same experience before. What is Orishida-sama's curse? Why did Rina and Satoshi-kun have a similar experience? I believe that means that someone put them under surveillance. Somebody must be spying on the next victim of the curse. Since Rina and Satoshi-kun both blindly believed in Orishida-sama's curse, they interpreted it as Orishida-sama's presence. If paranoia kicked in, they would feel as if they're experiencing paranormal phenomena. Judging by what Rina said, it seemed that Satoshi-kun had been put under surveillance since long before watching Nagashi. So, one question comes to mind. Why were they watching Rena? I'm assuming that this surveillance was placed on a victim to be of that year. If so, I don't understand why Rena went through it. Why did they watch her, even though she was living so far away? If she was considered somebody who abandoned the village, I could understand, but she didn't fall a victim in the end. Maybe she was forgiven because she came back to Himizawa. I guess she still knows something I don't. Yeah, maybe actually. I didn't even think past what Rena said about coming back, but maybe there is something else. Satoshi-kun looks terrible. When he came, when he went home, he had to mediate a fight between Satoko and their aunt. He became mentally exhausted. He went to work every day. He became physically exhausted. He no longer communicated with his classmates. He either slept on his desk or was gone somewhere during lunch break. He used to be really gentle. It's painful to see him suffering like that. On top of that, he was dealing with the curse of Orishida-sama. He must have been uh, he must be completely, totally, and absolutely exhausted. That curse was a form of surveillance by those planning to victimize Satoshi-kun that year. That means that the other victims were in the same position. Satoshi-kun's aunt had also been watched. Did she notice any presence? Hmm? Oh, so this is after what happened? What about the others? Did the victims of the previous incidences also experience it? I need to investigate the facts in order to prove the curse of Satoshi-kun was actually just surveillance. Is it surveillance? Paranoia? Or really the curse? So Satoshi does get spirited away this time, okay, just making sure. So it's gonna happen. We're just seeing it as it's happening. Okay. But yeah, that's it for this time, so bye bye. Bye.